my kind of town, Chicago. It's my kind of town, Chicago. It's my kind of people who watch Doctor Who. Yay!
Hide under the sofa. So we got swivel chairs. So we could actually chase each other around the stage when we get bored.
I don't.
Yes. So, Fraser, I wanted to ask you a question about, I've always wanted to ask you a question, in fact, about the start of your career, because you were a child actor, and you were a child actor in the British film and television industry in the 50s. That must have been...
When I started television, when I started acting, television was very much in its infancy, so I was doing movies. One of the first movies I ever did was King in New York. When I'm back home in England and at a party and somebody says, you know, Laurence Olivier said to me, well, Charlie Chaplin once said to me, what? Charlie Chaplin, I did a picture called King in New York.
That's right.
And it's on DVD, and I'm not plugging it because I don't get any residuals, but King in New York. And I was playing as a little boy. He was an exiled king that came to this special school, and if you were an artist, you got all the paints, if you were a sculptor, you got all the clay, and I was a little boy who liked cooking, and he taught me how to roll out these cakes and pick my nose and make holes for the cherries, and sing Grand Opera at the same time, and he was a lovely man, and I did the scene for him, and the next day, I went up, I said, Mr. Chaplin, I've got an idea for a bit of comedy, and when you're 9 or 10 years old, you have no fear. And instead of him going around the ear, he said, I am Charlie Chaplin, I've written, starring, produced, and directed it. He said, what do you think is comedy, Fraser? I said, you've got this fur hat. If I put some cream in it and you put it on, isn't that funny? He went, no, because I hadn't seen the cream in the hat. But if you make it into a cake and I sit in it, then we have the comedy. And that man was so great that he could listen to a little 9, 10-year-old boy. It's trouble in our business. So many people get halfway up the rung of ladder of success and they've stopped listening. They don't listen. I listen all the time. When I'm doing pantomime back home, if a little babe, one of the babes comes up, Fraser, I've got a new joke. Yeah. And I'll go, what is it, sweetheart? I'll go on stage, tell that joke, you'll probably get the biggest laugh of the night. And really, you know, so you never, ever stop listening, particularly in show business. Always listen to somebody.
Now, did you find it hard acting at a young age? I mean, did you feel that you lost out on anything as a kid, or did you just sort of juggle between the two?
Well, you missed a lot of the playing cowboys and Indians, and we weren't allowed to play cricket or football at the drama school in case you broke an arm or broke a leg or got a black eye. So we missed a little of that, and we missed sort of knocking on people's doors and running away and tying firecrackers on a cat's tail. You know, we missed all that. So.
You missed basically torturing people.
But one of the other movies was, again, it's on DVD, starring Dean Jagger, was X the Unknown. One of the first Hammer horror films.
Wow!
And I played a little boy, a little Scots boy. There's been a lot of Scots boys at that time. And my pal, we think this guy's turning into a vampire bat. So we follow him into the woods. And we're filming about 4 o'clock in the morning. And I had to say, hey Willie, go and see if he turns into a vampire bat. I'll wait for you for 5 minutes. And on the take, this owl went, we'll make that 3 minutes. Leslie Norman, the director, cut, fell off his chair laughing, everybody's laughing, and instead of giving me a rollicking, he said, that's a good little ad-lib. He said, we'll do the take again. Obviously the owl will not hoot. He said, but leave a pause and I'll put something on later. So when you see the movie X the Unknown, that's Fraser doing one of his first ever ad-libs. As I said, I did all films when I was a young kid. Another one was called The Weapon, with Elizabeth Scott, who was a very beautiful, blonde, husky-voiced American actress. She did The Weapon, and then she flew back to the States and did Lonesome Star, or with Elvis, anyway, and she was beautiful, blonde. And the film was about her son finds a gun in his bomb site and shoots one of our gang, and he goes into hiding. So I go back to his house with my pal and a little dog to try and get his school cap and sniff out and find out where he's living, or hiding. So we rehearsed the scene with Elizabeth Scott. She had a raincoat on, that's fine, raincoat. Inside a house, I don't know, we young kids. And then Val Guest, the director, said, let's go for a take. And she took off her raincoat, and she stood in pink bra, pink slip, and pink pants. That's all she, and we were... We've never seen a woman in her underwear before, you know. And after about 5 minutes, Elizabeth said, I think we better go for a take before these little boys go into the band.
Like 12-minute takes, done
Yeah, we did as many, I mean nowadays they shoot all the TARDIS.
Yes.
Then they shoot all these scenes, then all the back scenes. But we did it, we'd start off the TARDIS, every episode seems to start at the TARDIS, and then the doors would open, we'd go out into the space station or the barren land, and then back into the TARDIS. They would do 3 or maybe 4 scenes in one, and the only reason they'd stop is if the camera cables, camera 3 went, stop me, you can't go any further, because I can't get my cable over there, and I'm supposed to be over there. So that's the only reason. So we do 3 or 4 scenes, and I think it was because we'd all been used to doing theatre work. We were used to doing 40, 50 pages, 450 lines, whatever, in one hit. Nowadays, I think a lot of actors will go, oh gosh, I'm only used to doing 5 lines in one go, and that's it. We were all theatre trained, even though Patrick never liked theatre.
So if you fluffed a line, you just basically kept on going, right? And
nowadays, yeah, if you hook a line up, you go, oh, so let's go back to, Graeme, let's go back to what you asked Frazier about the TARDIS again. You know, just go 3 lines back. But we, if you got it wrong, we'd have to go back to the first scene. So it was a hell of pressure on you to do all the scenes once. And that's why you'll see in some of our early stuff, there's a little fluff, you know. Somebody will go, now let's get the exterminator right. Instead of going exterminator. Little fluffs, nowadays you go, oh, sorry, I said that line wrong. In those days, you just had to get on with it.
Keep going.
Unless it's a major thing where you forgot somebody's name or whatever. Let's go into that, what's it called again? Oh, TARDIS, yeah. You know, let's do that, you know, they were kind of...
So was there ever a fear of corpsing where you suddenly just burst into the giggles or something like that doing that?
You get all the giggles in the beginning on Monday, you do a read through,
right,
and then start to block it. On Tuesday, you get all the giggles out then, and any actor that joins us be broken by the Wednesday. Wolf Morris playing Patterson Barber in
the Bottle Summit.
That's the one. To get the story. He was started off very seriously. My name is Patterson Sababa. I'm the great intelligence. By the Wednesday, my name is Hello. I'm the intelligent. I'll get you. But you had to get the gigs out, you know, because by Thursday and Friday, you know, that was it. Producers run, and you're in the studio. So you had to get those gigs out.
My goodness. Now, working with Patrick Troughton, that must have been like a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
He was a lovely man. I'd worked with Patrick about 2 years previous, a thing called Smuggler's Bay, where I played John Trenchard. It was originally Moonfleet, that famous book called Moonfleet.
Yeah.
And Patrick was an old smuggler, and you're late. Excuse me? You're late? Have you got a note? No, that'll do. Mike, I'll forgive you because you have travelled from a long way in time, haven't you? What you missed? I went to Corona School with Church and Charlie Elizabeth, so the boys turned and then who's in the famous, and then making famous, and then Patrick, that's so far we got. You haven't missed it.
You're caught up.
Patrick he was lovely, and we had great fun working with him. It really was. One of the stories, the enemy of the world had just been found. Brought back a lovely story. Thank you. When Patrick, plays Salamander, for those who haven't seen Enemy of the World, the first day rehearsal, he came up to Deborah and I said, "What do you think is Salamander speak the gringo accent like this?" And little Deborah went, "Are you really going to play it like that?" And he said, "Why?" I said, "Salamander doesn't come from Wales." And he sloped off, you could upset him. But no, he was marvellous. He was great at Salamander.
Oh, he's tremendous. He strikes me as an actor that's very kind of, he'll never do the same scene twice the same way. He's always trying to figure out a new way of doing it. He does it. Was that kind of fun to kind of work with that?
Well, I've heard a lot of stories that Patrick didn't learn his lines and stuff. Of course he did.
Of course he did.
But with that short, if you had to say, "Hi, Jenny, let's get to the TARDIS. Are you with me?" And of course I'm not, you know, that's the same script. It isn't, Jamie, we've got to get into the TARDIS. Do you think you can go? I could say, no, I'm going to say, yes, I'm with you. You say, of course I can go, Doctor. You have to be a listening actor. Patrick always said Frazier was a listening actor, and I used to listen to him. You can't just learn lines and go, I'm not supposed to, no, I can't reply to that. You have to listen and reply to what is said and done.
Yeah. But he's an actor that very much kind of goes with the moment. He seems like it always seems like he's always constantly inventing, constantly kind of.
We're always looking for characters. We're always looking for a badge on. Look at the size of that thing, Doctor. You know. Because funny enough, I was doing the thing for Big Finish that you just seen, and my first one, Helican Prime. I read the first scene as Doctor and Jamie. I did Jamie's voice, and I did the Doctor to kind of, yes, now come on, Jamie, we're going to do this. And Nigel Fair's the director. Well, like Fraser, I'll just sort of listen to it back, you know. And I said, yes, I'm going to try this. Fraser, that sounds like Patrick. I said, well, yes, I do this sort of Patrick story when I'm telling the gang about, you know. He said, well, just do it again, this time as Patrick. So I did it as Patrick, and he said, that's it, keep it up. Because what happened is we were doing the Emperor Dalek story, and this Emperor Dalek was as high as this building here. And my line was, look at the balls of that thing, Doctor. I couldn't say it. I can't say that. And Derek Marshall's the director's tearing his hair out. I said, I can't. So, look at the size of that thing. Yes, Jamie. It isn't it, isn't it? So, roll on 16 years, and John Nathan Turner were doing the two Doctors. And my line was, great story, great to back. And my line was, hey, look at the size of that space station, Doctor, you know. And I said, hey, look at the size of that thing, Doctor. And John Nathan does stop. The script says, look at the size of the space station. And Patrick went, no. Beginning of the story, Jamie, listen, look at the size of that thing, Doctor. Yes, Jamie, it is a big one, isn't it? And if you watch the Seeds of Death, we always try to sneak it in. The Seeds of Death, the TARDIS lands in that museum, and there's a big rocket ship. And we didn't want Papas, and I went, hey, the pointer's on, look at the size of that thing, Doctor. He said, yes, it is rather large, isn't it?
First off, I'd just like to say you're my favorite companion. Perfect. I was wondering, of your time with the show, what were your favorite stories that you were involved in?
My favourite story has got to be the Highlanders, because if I hadn't done the Highlanders, I wouldn't be here now. I wouldn't go to Australia next week. I wouldn't be to Long Island Iced Tea Convention a couple of weeks ago. Daphne Ashburn, we nicknamed it Long Island Iced Tea Convention.
I've had some of that Long Island iced tea you were drinking at that convention.
Oh,
it was very good.
So the Highlanders, and all the rest were all, you know, people said, oh, they found two of your good stories. Well, they are, but all our stories except one was really, really good. Really, I love doing all those stories. And the Web of Fear, funny enough, I'll tell you a little story. Web of Fear, we wanted to film down in the underground, because in England in those days, the tube station shut between 2 and 5 in the morning. And London Transport said no. So our set designers, the bare bones of what they had at disposal, built that underground set. The first episode went out, and the London Transport lawyers rang BBC and said, you've broken into the Covent Garden tube station, and we're going to sue you. They had to come along and see this set, which was kind of, it was so lifelike. When Jamie has to jump, I went, are you sure this rail isn't electrified? It was so believable, so believable. I'm glad they found those two stories anyway. Thank you very much.
But what were you with you? So all but one is your answer for
Yes.
favorite story? Okay.
Yeah.
And what was the one?
Croutons.
Of course.
Only because we were going to do another comedy one where we landed up in space, and it was a prison where all the men were women kind of thing, and wore dresses, and the women all garbed in short plastic hot pants and, you know, shiny tight trousers and stuff.
Yes, as you can see, the Second Doctor is one of my favorite, and again, you're my favorite companion. I'm really honored to be meeting you. It's honor to you.
Thank you.
My question is, if you could have an adventure with any other Doctor, one of the new ones, or maybe one of the newer classic ones, which one would you choose and why?
Peter Capaldi. The latest one. But I we've done with the Colin, my next doctor would be Sylvester McCall. We've done a lot of conventions this year, Sylvester. We've also, it'd be great. I said, the only trouble is, Sylvester, if you and I done a Doctor Who together, there wouldn't be anything shown because we so much time fooling and laughing and enjoying ourselves. We probably wouldn't get any shots done. But I must say that it's a great honour to see so many Patricks and Jamies lookalikes, you know, dressed in. And recently, there's suddenly been an influx because of the 2 stories that suddenly come out. It's nice that people love the Patrick. I've seen Tom Baker's and Peter Davidson, and it's great to see Patrick. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Each time you come back to play Jamie, have you had any reservations about, can I get into character immediately and double thinking everything you're doing in regards to, is this really the same character? Because sometimes when you take a break from a character, it is kind of a little difficult to get back into.
No, when I get into that big finished booth, it's amazing. Suddenly the voice goes up a bit like that, and suddenly, Doctor, gotta say that once again. Oh no, we better run. And my voice suddenly goes up an octave. And when I had to play Black Donald, where it was kind of an old Jamie, you know, so you just drop the voice down a little bit. No, it's amazing. Just suddenly, your voice raises and becomes Jamie.
Did you find it weird coming back to the role in the 5 and the 2 Doctors?
Oh, that was great fun. I was supposed to do Patrick all the way through the 5 Doctors, but I was doing a soap called Emmerdale, and they wouldn't release me. So John Nathan turned and said, Fraser, if you get any time off, I want you in the story. And I got my schedule, and I said, JNT, I've got next Wednesday, Thursday off. I said, right, I'll fax you a script then. And this fax came in, and I had those 3 lines. You know, Doctor, the Brigadier's late. No, that's what I did. And if I said, I'm Jamie McCrimmon, I can't be bothered to just do that. I went down to London, walked into the rehearsal room, Peter Davis was there, John Pertwee, all that, and I saw Ben Wee and Patrick who went, yay! We dive on each other, we roll over on the floor, and John Pertwee went, so Sarah Jane, roll on the floor. And then of course, JNT, when I was getting de-rigged, so to speak, I said, Fraser, it's like I put you and Patrick in a prop cupboard for 16 years. It was a gap of 16 years. And you just went straight off the set. Would you mind doing more? Not half. And that's how I came to do the 2 Doctors, which was great. Because Colin Baker and I, we've known each other a long, long time. So in fact, we shared the same woman once.
Oh, really?
He married us.
That's another story.
Thank you very much.
I also understood that you were supposed to be in the 3 Doctors, but you were supposed to just sort of do a come on Doctor, go off thing. You couldn't get released from Emmerdale.
No, they were released. And it also in the 2 Doctors, so Wendy Padby had that sort of blue suit on, you know, very tight, leotard tights. But she was pregnant with her daughter. So I thought, I think it was Bobby Barker, the wardrobe got those poppers, you know.
Right. Bubble wrap.
Bubble wrap, that's it. And we put on this bubble wrap and tied it into behind the bump, and we were, you know, that's it, that's crossing the other.
Hello.
Hello. So, I hope I speak for most of us when I say that I was bouncing all over the house when I found out that Enemy of the World A Web of Fear was found. Because Enemy of the World was the one Patrick Troughton story that I was most hoping would be found again. So, which of the missing serials do you hope will be found next?
There's 2. Evil of the Daleks. I love that. That was Deborah's first ever story. And the Daleks actually started to get friendly and trains, we are trains. They started blinking around our trains. And of course the Highlanders, I'd love to see that again because that was my first story. And I spoke with a slightly different Scottish accent.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that.
It was the Highland accent because we just thought we were going to be in the 4 episodes. And that's how they speak in the north of Scotland, up in the Highlands like this. Oh, here comes the laird, the redcoats will be after chasing the redcoats. Where are you going?
Gino, where are you going?
When you turned the aircon off, the pool was freezing. So when I realised I could do it longer, I started to water it into a television Scottish because you can't say, Doctor, look at the size of that monster, he'll be after chasing us. You can't get me, Doctor, there's a monster there! It's more dramatic.
Yeah.
So, Evil of the Daleks, I think, and the Highlands.
You watching the missing episodes again? Like, what were some of your favorite moments, and did it bring back memories?
Yeah, well, the strange thing is that screening, they started to show Enemy of the World And after about 5 minutes, I thought, goodness, that was another story, you know. And I realised the last time I'd seen that episode was in the little green room, Lime Grove, when we used to break for supper. We'd watch that show going out, previous week's show or whatever, and then go for supper and then record our own show. And I thought, the last time I saw it was 45 years ago. I couldn't believe it, so I sat up and took notice. And of course, Patrick was great, played Salamander. But it was a hard shoot for him and us because we were doing scene. And he had this long speech and he kept drawing. And the whole thing is, when an actor starts to forget a line, you're playing the scene with him. Instead of being sympathetic, you start to giggle, you start to laugh. And he got to this long speech and he got the line that he forgot before, and the next line, he forgot the next line. And we just laughed. He said, "Oh, you little shit, you got these lines, he's just grinning like apes." I said, "Patrick, you're paid a fortune to say all those words. I'm paid to get the girls watching, and Deb is paid to get the dads out of the dark."